Hey everybody, this is Charlie, the Pennsylvania grain farmer, coming to you here from, well, as you can see out there, or I think it's pretty sunny western Pennsylvania. In fact, I've never seen so many sunny days in May, I don't think in all my life. It's May the 27th, I think. It's the Friday before Memorial Day. And I'm up here in the red shed. Now, it's been a while since I did a video. You know, even though things have been going on, it just wasn't anything that I thought that I wanted the video. But things have been happening. As you know from my last video, everything's planted and now everything's up. All the corn and the soybeans are up. I sprayed my oats a couple days ago. You know, to get the broadleaf weeds, the ragweed and stuff like that. And I didn't record any of that because I hate spraying. I love everything about farming, but spraying is one thing I don't like at all. I mean, I do it because it needs to be done. You know, and also I didn't want to, you know, have a camera out there and get, you know, spray all over. Because when I spray, I wear a respirator, you know, gloves, long sleeves, you know, the whole works, safety glasses. And, you know, it really surprises me how many people I see on YouTube who are spraying, you know, with an open station tractor and don't wear any safety, you know, safety things at all. But in any event, I didn't want to get spray all over my camera, so I didn't record that. I did do a little bit here with the Ford F600 dump truck, which, as you know, I use as my my grain truck. I took it in one day and had it inspected, which we have to do annually here in Pennsylvania. And I'd had Ben, my buddy Ben, do some work on it, and it needed some tie rod ends and a couple other little things like that. And he took care of it, and it passed with flying colors. But when I came home from the inspection, I noticed that this has Lucas Girling brakes, and there's a canister right down here. It costs about, I believe it was $488, but that canister was leaking. Ben had changed the other one a couple years ago, and now this one just started to leak, so he was able to get one. And he had called me last night and said, hey, if you want that canister put in your truck, he said, why don't you bring it up in the morning? And he said, I need you to go get a couple hydraulic pumps for me at a place about an hour away from us. And he said, you can take my, he said, bring your dump truck, you can take my pickup and go pick that up for me, and I'll put the canister on for you. So that's what we did this morning. I went and got the part, or the pumps that he needed from the supplier, which saved him, you know, it was about an hour, 10 minutes away, so it saved him a couple hours. And in the meantime, he put this new canister on my truck, and so everything worked out for both of us. So now, as far as I know, everything's fixed on this thing. So what this video really is about is today, it should be a fairly short one, is my Oliver 66. What I'm going to be doing is changing the amp meter. Whenever I got this last year, you remember I painted it and had it to my buddy Joe's, and he changed it over from 6 to 12 volt. But the other thing that I did was I bought all new gauges for it, because some of the old gauges didn't work. So I just replaced them all, but unfortunately, I'm embarrassed to say it, I cheaped out and I you know, bought the Chinesium ones. Well, I'm paying for that because now the amp meter doesn't work. If you look at it, it stays all the time at about 8 amps. That's with the key on, the key off, the lights on, the lights off. Doesn't move. So I think it's I think that amp meter's fried. Now, the way I tested it, I talked to my buddy Joe, and he said, you know, I didn't know maybe if the generator was bad, but I did the test where you start the tractor up and unplug the negative battery cable, and if it shuts off, it means that the generator isn't charging. If it keeps running, it means the generator is charging. Well, I unhooked the negative battery cable, and the tractor shut off. So I talked to Joe about that. I said, well, does that mean the generator isn't working? He said, well, actually, he said, if you think about it, he said, the one caveat to that is if your gauge is bad, your amp meter is bad, then it is going to shut off, because, you know, the two wires come to that amp meter, and if it's not working, it's like having an open circuit. So whenever you unhook the you know, the battery cable, then it's not going to work. So that's why we're, you know, almost 100% sure that the problem is entirely in this gauge. So I sent to Corv's Oliver and got a new one, an American-made ammeter, and I'm going to be putting that in today. Now, I'm not going to film every minute of the process, but you know, I'll just take you along, and it'll be kind of like time lapse, and I'll show you the different parts of the process. What I'm hoping is that I can open up the door at the top where the battery is, unhook the battery, and maybe slide it forward enough that I can get to that gauge and not have to take all the sheet metal off. So I'm going to do a little exploration of that right now, and I'll let you know here shortly how that turns out. So I'll be right back. Okay, it's a couple minutes later. I have removed the negative cable off the battery to keep power out of the system, and I don't think I'm going to have to take the whole tractor apart to do this. If you notice inside there, if you can see it well enough, there are 3 different gauges here. The one that I'm interested in today is this middle one, and I don't know if you can see that very well, but there are the 2 wires that come into it. I just have to take the nuts off that hold those 2 wires, and then the nuts that are on there behind them, and then I should be able to pull that gauge right out through the dash, and it should be able to insert the new one. So, and I don't think I'm going to have to take this battery out, or you know, take the sheet metal off or anything. I should be able to get to it fairly easily. So I'm going to right now shut this camera off and work on getting those nuts off. So I'll be back here shortly. Okay, it's a few minutes later. I got the amp meter out. Here it is. Now, since I pulled it out, it's not on 8 anymore. It's on about 1. It seems like as I turn it, it wants to go in different directions. I think it's pretty messed up, but I got it unhooked out of there, because what happens is this ammeter sits in the dash, and then when you put it into the hole in the dash, then this part goes in from the inside this way, and when you put the nuts back on here, that's what holds this amp meter up against the wall of the dashboard and keeps it from popping out. Okay, so it wasn't that hard to remove. It was just, I didn't want to take all the sheet metal off, and it is a little bit tight, but I got it. So now I'm going to get the new amp meter out and get it stuck back in the hole. And you can see the hole there in the middle of the dash where the ammeter was. So I'm going to go get the other one and install that, and I'll check in with you here in a couple minutes. Well, we're back, and as you can see, the amp meter is in, and this is a new American-made one, but I think our operation today was, I hate to say a failure, but didn't solve the problem. Notice when I turn the key on, nothing happens to the needle, and now when I turn it one more click to where it turns on the lights, it should be discharging, and it's not. And if I start it up, which I'll do right now, Okay, you can see that it's not charging. And actually, before I recorded this last part, I started it up. I had the battery cables both hooked up. I unhooked the negative cable and the tractor shut off. Okay, so, you know, I'm assuming obviously that this amp meter is good. And so that probably means that the, you know, contrary to what I thought before, that it must be the, you know, the generator that's bad. So I have a call into my buddy Joe to see what he thinks, but I'll probably end up taking that generator off and taking it to the local auto electric place and getting them to check it out and fix it if it needs to be. So I really thought that you know, switching out this amp meter was going to, you know, take care of the problem, just because of the way the old one was stuck over at 8. But you know, that didn't do the job. So at least I have an American-made amp meter in there now, which is a good thing. So we'll get to the bottom of it. But that's the way it is on the farm. And that's the way it is with mechanics. Sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. This one was, you know, kind of a failure, but at least we, you know, narrowed things down and, you know, eliminated the idea that it was the amp meter. So I guess we did make a little bit of progress there. So in any event, I'll keep you updated as to, you know, what happens with this as I move forward with it. But I think I'm going to end this video for now. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I hope that you'll hit the like button and consider subscribing. And if you have subscribed, I appreciate that very much. And I hope that you'll leave me a comment, or, you know, in the comments section, ask me a question, because I do try to respond to all, you know, comments and questions that I get. So for now, this is Charlie, the Pennsylvania grain farmer, saying, see you next time.